The Pirates should have learned that you may be able to get away with mistakes, physical and mental, against some teams, but not the St. Louis Cardinals. You want to beat them, you have to play just like them, only better.
This just in, we are not expecting rain tonight. Hopefully an uninterrupted Game 2 of the 4-game series. The National League Central Division showdown, the Pirates and the Cardinals, Game 2 of 4. Greg Brown along with Bob Walk. The Cardinals won Game 1 last night 4-1. In fact, Bob, last night the Pirates were being shut out until the 9th inning when a guy named Andrew McCutchen came along and decided to hit a bomb to extend his hitting streak.
Well, Greg, a lot of times when you see guys with hitting streaks, it might be kind of some light hitting. A lot of singles are in there to extend that streak. Well, it hadn't been like that with McCutchen during this streak. There's a lot of extra base hits. There's a lot of long home runs like he hit last night. And I think more importantly, especially for the Pirates, there's also been a ton of RBIs. And, you know, he's sitting there in the middle of the lineup, and that's what he's there for, to drive in runs. And he is certainly doing that. There's that bomb he hit last night. 443
feet. Well, one guy who will not be in the starting lineup again, Starling Marte. The Pirates have to come to a decision at some point whether to place him on the disabled list. Our Allegheny Health Network injury update. He was taking batting practice at least.
Well, we really miss him a lot. It's not just the bat, it's what he brings out there in the outfield on defense. And, of course, he's one of the fastest guys in the league. You miss what he does on the bases.
You still see him kind of nursing that side injury. The Pirates and the St. Louis Cardinals playing Game 2 of the 4-game series. Going to fire up the Cole train tonight. The Major League leader in wins. Friday Night Rocks, Bucks, Cards coming up next.
Across the old plank, there's a ballpark where the fans meet up when it gets dark. On the North Shore where the flags fly high, and all around the burg with a glass to the sky. We came here to win for our city, lay it all on the line. Are you with me? Waited 5 days for the week to
Friday Night Rocks here in Pittsburgh for the second game of the big 4-game series showdown. Garrett Cole takes the hill. The Pirates in their home whites tonight. And the Cole train looking for his major league leading 13th win. Mike Matheny's Cardinals lead the Pirates by 5.5 games in the Central. This is his starting lineup. And it's Matt Carpenter, followed by Colton Wong, returns to the starting lineup, hitting .375 this season against the Pirates. Johnny Peralta, Jason Hayward follow. Yadier Molina had a 2-run single last night. Randall Grichuk is in left. Dan Johnson is at first base with Thomas Pham in center and Lance Lynn on the mound.
How about these numbers, Greg? Pretty impressive. Cole at last start before the All-Star game, a chance to show up in Cincinnati with 13 wins. 12 is pretty nice. I always think that's a nice number to go to an All-Star game with an even dozen wins. But what a year Garrett Cole is having. Only 26 walks, 113 strikeouts.
A young pitcher who seems to live for these moments, the big moments. Of course, he faced the Cardinals in the National League Division Series a couple of years ago. His first meeting this season against the Redbirds. And we're underway with a strike to Carpenter. Back starting at third base with Wong returning to the lineup. Carpenter hit second last night, was 2 for 4, had a 2-run single in the 4-run fifth. Little up and in action.
Cole will pitch inside.
One and two. Cole is 1-2 in his career against St. Louis. 4 regular season starts last year. Tapper fouled off to the right. Stays 1 ball and 2 strikes on Matt Carpenter. So Cole's wins total of 12, the most in the major leagues. He's 6th in earned run average, 2.38 ERA. Looks to become just the second Pirates pitcher to win 13 games before the All-Star break since Doc Ellis won 14 games in 1971. Larry Vanover over at third. Check swing. The home plate umpire is Brian Onora. Mike Carapaza at first. Brian Knight at second, and the crew chief is over there. Larry Vanover at third. 2-2 on Carpenter. Full count.
Carpenter's one of those hitters, Greg. It seems like it doesn't matter if he goes at 2-0 or 0-2. He's going to see a lot of pitches. He's still going to force you to go to the full count.
Bounces this to first. Alvarez gathers it in. 1 down. The defense with Travis Ishikawa in left field is brought to you by Honda. Andrew McCutchen in center. Gregory Polanco in right. Jung Ho Gang, Jordy Mercer on the left side. Neil Walker, Pedro Alvarez on the right side with Chris Stewart catching Cole, of course. Ishikawa making his first Pirate start in left field. And Stewart, as is always the case now, starting with Cole on the hill. Here's Colton Wong. He's out for a couple of games with a concussion-like symptoms. Returned and played the second half last night. First as a pinch hitter and then remained in the game to play second. He had a base hit and was hit by a pitch in the 9th inning by a 99-mile-per-hour fastball from Archimedes Caminero. I mean, it got him good.
The 2 guys got hit last night, and both of them were struck well.
Jung Ho Gang and Colton Wong. Gang was hit first.
Not glancing blows.
No. 1-2.
A nice little slider back going, bringing it in over the corner. Just started a little ways off the plate. It just drops right in.
His first strikeout, 2 down.
Tough to hit when you get a fastball that's upper 90s. This one's 96, and it's also up above the strike zone. You just can't catch up to it up there.
.114 strikeouts for the year, 8th most in the National League. Johnny Peralta hitless in 4 trips last night. The game-winning home run in Chicago on Wednesday night. Two and one on the veteran Johnny Peralta. 2 for 11 lifetime against Garrett Cole. Hit hard to right. And Polanco keeps it close to him and now throws towards second base, but it's a double for Peralta. Opposite field double.
Pretty close at second base. I wonder if it probably wouldn't make any difference, but if Polanco had this to do over, if he would have laid back off the wall a little bit,
you wonder
and get a good nice one-hop rebound
rather than going through that.
Yeah, probably it would have had a better shot at throwing him out.
Yeah. He backs off and comes up with it cleanly, rather than this happening. Allegheny Health Network Supermo.
But he must have thought he had a shot at catching it.
Hayward pops it up. And here's Ishikawa. Double doesn't hurt Cole. The Pirates go to work now against Lance Lynn. Gregory Polanco will lead off our Toyota lineup. Neil Walker hits second. Andrew McCutchen, 16-game hitting streak, bats third. The cleanup man, Jung Ho Kang. Jordy Mercer, good career numbers against Lynn, moves up to the 5-hole. And Pedro Alvarez, Travis Ishikawa, Chris Stewart, and Garrett Cole.
Lynn's numbers on the year very good. There's no doubt that he is one of the better pitchers in the league. Maybe not in the elite class, but at most just a tick underneath that. Always been very tough. Not a super hard thrower, better than average fastball, and he throws it a ton. We were just looking, Greg, at what he did in his last start. He threw 92% fastballs, or excuse me, 81% fastballs, and then throw in 16% cutters. So everything is going to be hard.
Yeah.
You're not going to see soft stuff. Not Cole hard, but you know that little tiny that cutter, small slider, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be in the upper 80s. Fastball going to be in the lower 90s.
And he has become, as you said, maybe not one of the true elite guys, because you just don't think of Lance Lynn. But if you look at his numbers, and he should have more than 6 wins. He's 8th in the league in ERA. He does it then. How does he do it? How does he do it with, basically, he's a fastball guy.
Well, anybody that does it throwing all the fastballs and not like throwing 100 mile an hour, is you're going to have to be able to have very good control of that fastball, command, whatever word you want to use. You have to move it in and out, up and down. And you know, pitching is all about the destruction of the hitter's timing. Well, you don't have to change speeds with the pitches to do that. You can destroy timing by moving it in and out.
He's gotten 2 calls here. That helps him. He has not thrown a strike yet.
That's another thing too. If you get a little bit of a
reputation
about, you know, okay, I'm going to be right there around the plate, you're going to get more pitches.
Wow.
Especially if it's just fastballs.
He did not throw 1 strike in the zone.
The entire at bat, there was not a strike in the strike zone. There were no chases, and he got a strikeout. Now, if that's the way it's going to go tonight, it's going to be tough. Look at where everything was. Nothing in the strike zone. 5 pitches, nothing. But he got 3 of them called strikes.
There's Neil Walker. In the dirt, ball 1. Walker, career .294 hitter versus Lynn. 1 for 4 last night. Two balls, no strikes. Carlos Martinez was almost dominant last night. Shutout ball through 7 1/3, 4 hits.
The thing that was really impressive about Martinez last night, Greg, how about the way he was able to add velocity to his fastball toward the end of the ball game. I mean, just like we used to see from Verlander in his prime, where he started off throwing 94, 95, into the night throwing 100.
A little interesting reversal here, by the way. This at bat is different, as Lynn's not getting those called strikes. You see it. Hit hard off the glove of Peralta. Probably a bad hop single for Walker. It is.
And anytime you hit a ball that hard, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt on the hit error calls. Pretty much hit at Peralta. He decided to go backhand, I think, so he could maybe get a better get to the side of the ball, maybe get a longer hop. The only other choice was to try to pin that one off his chest, and maybe he didn't want to get hit in the chest with that 1 hop line drive. No chest protector like that guy.
16-game hitting streak now for Andrew McCutchen. Hit his 11th home run of the year in the 9th inning last night. He's a career .132 hitter versus Lynn. And it's headed up the middle, and a base hit. Neil Walker going to hold it second. It's first and second with 1 out.
Didn't wait tonight.
17-game hitting streak for Andrew McCutchen.
We've done nice and early. Now this is a little bit of a similar situation. We got something going in the first inning.
Yeah.
Last night didn't cash it in.
The longest hitting streak by a Bucko since Neil Walker had a 17-gamer 3 years ago. Two on, 1 out. Here's Jung Ho Kang. Merrill Automotive League leaders. Troy Tulowitzki has a 21-game hitting streak going. Andrew McCutchen with now a 17-gamer. Two on Kang.
You see the velocity, but mainly the location. he's very much on the plate with that fastball. Another part of the equation, Greg, and this is that mysterious thing. I never really know how to describe it. I know it exists. I don't know why. Is the deception. We talk about that. It seems like
There's
a lot.
certain pitchers that have it.
Yeah, and I really don't know why they have it or how they get it. The hitters can't really explain it either. You just don't know. Some guys' fastball doesn't play as fast as what their readings are. Some guys throwing in the low 90s like they're throwing in the upper 90s, and I've seen it forever, for 30 years, and who knows? It's all about how they release the ball. The hitters have a hard time picking it up soon enough to where they can react to it. Their reaction time is just a little slower for whatever reason.
Still 1-2 on Gong.
This conversation, I think, came up not too long ago. We were talking about Caminero, that you see guys pull right on the nose his 98-mile-an-hour fastball. How do they do that? He can throw the ball as hard as anybody, but sometimes it's like it's not playing that fast.
And he gets Gong.
Wow, he added a little bit. He threw a 94 earlier, and this one was 96. He averages just 91 miles an hour on his fastball. Obviously, he has a little reserve power he can dip into.
He is averaging 9.5 strikeouts per 9 innings. It's tied for the 6th highest ratio in the league.
I misread this again. I'm going to go back to that last start. He did throw 92.5 fastballs last start. That's almost throwing nothing but fastballs. And that was against the Padres. And he threw a 3-hitter for 7 innings. He gave up no earned runs, and he struck out 8. That's just throwing fastballs, and you're not an overpowering guy. Although he can get it up there at times. He can reach back a little bit. But for the most part, he's just throwing fastballs in the low 90s, moving it in and out, and he's good enough with his control to get the job done in a very good fashion, just doing it.
Liner into right center field. Jordy Mercer, who hits Lynn well, has done it again to give the Pirates a 1-0 lead. Mercer, right center gap, scores Walker.
Well, all I can think of is that he must have had the swing away sign on the first pitch. Right? He goes out, he chases the first pitch. It's up and away in that top part of the strike zone, and he drives it the other direction.
Nothing. Double scores Walker. McCutchen to third. Alvarez takes a strike call, and that was also out of the zone. Alvarez just checking nicely right now with Brian O'Nora.
Probably was that. Is that the same strikes that Polanco saw? Is that the same,
just want to double check here.
Is that same strike?
And now he's hearing it from the bench.
Oh, they're asking the same question, is it?
Which is it? Because Lynn didn't get those calls with Walker at the plate.
Just there's been a little inconsistent. And I truly believe that I think umpires sometimes, how pitchers, we talk about this, especially Charlie last couple starts, about how it takes an inning or two to get into that rhythm. I think plate umpires, the same thing happens. It takes them maybe an inning to get into that rhythm of especially that, with the pitchers, what's his fastball going to do?
Wow, that was a strike though across the letters. Fans didn't like the call, but that was a strike. That's a great point. I mean, why would it make sense?
Absolutely. It's got to be the same way for a plate umpire that, it might take a dozen pitchers with a certain pitcher out there to get a feel for how that fastball is moving. Is it going to stay on the plate? Is it going to fool me and fall away at the last moment?
Lynn, no stranger to the Pirates, of course. His 15th career start against them.
And here's another thing about umpires. As much as fans and players, and myself included at times down there, think that, they're like sticking it to me. No, they're not. They're trying to do the best job they can. But they make mistakes just like we do as players and announcers.
Yep. Announcers?
We make mistakes. I made a mistake last night.
Swing and a miss. Jordy Mercer double. Bring home Walker. It's 1-0.
Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota helps you get the most out of your drive. Just ask a friend who drives one. Toyota, let's go places. By Barrel Automotive, we're driven to be better. And by PNC Bell, for the achiever in you. Let's go Bucks.
Rivers Casino tips to win.
Well, play smart baseball. When you're in pitching duels like we are usually with the Cardinals, it's the team that makes the least amount of mistakes. It usually comes out on top because the offenses really aren't in charge. RBIs for Walker. Walker does a good job usually against Lynn. He's got some RBIs off him. He's got 3 doubles, couple of home runs. I think he's going to have a really strong night. I also thought he would probably score a run or two, and he's already done that.
I want our viewers to be aware of this, and I'm going to confirm. I saw him writing those tips to win before the game. Before the game, the Rivers Casino tips to win. Bob gave that to you, and you're. In fact, I'm going to call an RBI already. I think an infield hit and a run scored equals an RBI.
Yeah, of course it does.
Out here, Molina. 1 ball, 1 strike. Young Ho Gong. Ball hit in the air to shallow left, shortstop Mercer. I think Pete Toma was calling you out, by the way, showing Jung Ho Gong.
Well, yeah, because I put in a call for him in a Tigers series, but he flew out first time up, if you remember, 418 feet, the dead center fielder.
I remember.
And then he hit a ball that might have been fair. He hit it over the top of the foul pole.
I was on with you. You don't have to argue with me.
Yeah. You're the one that gave me a pass on that, matter of fact. Thank you. You know what it is?
And your props.
I'm so used to arguing with you, even when you agree with me.
Yeah,
I'm arguing with you.
I know. Randall Grichuk takes a strike. He was 1 for 4 and scored a run last night. Also caught stealing. One out in the second.
You at home can make these predictions too. All you need is an internet connection. You can look up these pitcher-batter matchups just like I do.
You need an internet connection and somebody that's with you, a good friend who will rationalize and tweak it to make you sound good.
Yeah.
Well, Cole struck out Wong in the first. He's 0-2 on Grichuk. That batting style of Grichuk. Looks like he is at the ready. And
he lays the bat down.
Looks like a light bat too. We're to find that out. This ball in the air to center. McCutchen. 2 outs. Oh, he has gotten 3 straight fly ball outs, has Garrett Cole. 2 up, 2 down in the second. Dan Johnson, the first baseman. Yes, sir. That's a good one. Next stop is Cincinnati for the All-Star. And he could wind up starting it. But I think that Ray Searage, and as nice as it would be, I think they'd almost prefer Cole to get in there later in the ball game, not started, just get an inning in. Heard Ray Searage talking on a radio program recently about how he definitely would prefer not 2 innings for Garrett Cole. He's going to be geared up for that appearance whenever it comes on Tuesday night, whether it's a starter in relief. 1-2 on Dan Johnson.
Knowing Cole the way we do, I don't think it'd be a problem for him no matter what situation he pitches in. He's going to be pumped up. He's going to be excited, but I think he knows how to control that. We've seen it. So if he starts, I think it'll be okay. If he comes out of the bullpen, whatever it is, he'll be just fine.
1 ball, 2 strike pitch. 2-2. A breaking ball to Dan Johnson.
Heck, maybe starting a game on a huge stage like that with everybody watching around the country, maybe that'll prepare him for his Game 1 start in the World Series this year.
Could be. Not a bad idea. Bad thought. This is popped up. Routine. We're gone.
Do you see that? Is that an amazing looking airplane?
That is. That's flying around the ballpark.
It was flying by today, flying slowly by. Top speed, not much. Not really aerodynamic when it comes to overall top speed. But that's an old Ford Tri-Motor. There were 199 of those built. 8 of them still fly today, and one of them this afternoon came right over the top of the stadium. That was quite a sight. We're here for the Butler Air Show. Oh, what a great thrill that was for everybody. That gentleman, he was one of the first passengers a long time ago on the old Tri-Motors. Oh, he still got his glove that he used to take with him. Look at that glove. Used to fly a commercial flights to the islands out in Lake Erie. It at one time had the shortest regular scheduled, what would you call it, flight.
That's what you call it.
It was, well, you know what I mean.
Right,
Like it was a
run.
a run. It was only like 14 miles out to I think it was Middle Bass Island.
I think they called that a jog. But what are the letters TAT on that airplane? I saw that on the shot. What are they referring to?
Transcontinental Air Transport.
Okay.
That was the forerunner of TWA.
I thought so. That became now, despite having.
Put that away.
Bob, no, the letters again, what were they? That became TWA. Right?
Yeah. It's transcontinental.
Yeah, fascinating.
But we weren't reading that, by the way.
2-1 on Stewart. A little 5-game hitting streak going for him.
By the way, the glasses you saw me wearing, they're not for reading. They're for looking distance.
Yep.
I was not reading.
See you wearing those all the time. And you see people on the rotunda. 2-2 on Stewart. Lynn got Ishikawa to pop up. 3-2. Lynn with 31 walks in 93 innings. Just reached 100 strikeouts for the season with his 3 punch-outs in the first. Pop up on the right side. Easy for Johnson. Our day automotive this day in Pirates history is on this day in 1971 that Willie Stargell hit his league-leading 30th home run of the season. And it was his 10th of the year against Atlanta. Pirates beat the Braves 5-4 at Three River Stadium on this day in 1971. The team that went on to win the World Series, beat the San Francisco Giants in the National League Championship Series, then on to beat the Birds, the Baltimore Orioles. Willie Stargell and company, Roberto Clemente, Steve Blass led the way. Couple of strikes on Garrett Cole. The two kind of similar competitors at the plate. Cole's hitting 167. Lynn 231 this year. He has been unbelievable since June the 1st, Lance Lynn. 5 starts, ERA of 0.85. Opponents hitting 193 against him.
I'm a little worried about him for a while there. What was it? Something in his forearm.
Yeah, shut him down for a bit.
Yeah, anytime they say forearm, then you start thinking Tommy John. But thank goodness for Lynn and the Cardinals. And whatever was bothering him went away.
15th career start against the Pirates, 5-3 record, 4.43 ERA versus Pittsburgh. This is his 16th start against them, the most against any ball club, and he strikes out his mound opponent, has a 1-2-3 bottom of the second. Garrett Cole strikes out.
By now, Tuesday night, with the tarp going everywhere in a crazy rainstorm, our good friend Matt Gerhardt from the Pirates ground crew got swallowed up in a tarp, which led to a few shenanigans. The next day, when he showed up for work, there was the outline in the dirt between second and third base, RIP Tarp Man, which led to this, a tweet with Matt Gerhardt wearing the shirt that says, "I survived the tarp monster." The shenanigans are seemingly never ending for Matt Gerhardt. Here is the shirt. It's an exclusive you can get only here at PNC Park next time you make your way out. Pay a little tribute to Matt Gerhardt, our friend who is happily doing well, did not suffer any injuries. I survived the tarp monster. It's a PNC Park exclusive, Greg and Bob. You can only get the shirt here. I'm happy to report Matt Gerhardt is sitting just right here, or standing right here behind me. He's in great spirits. He's doing well, and I asked him about the shirt. He said, hey, it was funny at the time, and I can't believe how much attention it has gotten. He is now memorialized on a T-shirt. How about that?
Yeah, they had to clear it through him first. They wanted to make sure he wouldn't have a problem if they sold those T-shirts here. He said, yep, go ahead. He got the first one. Thanks to Robbie. That they don't miss a trick.
Yeah, I was a little concerned when it was actually happening. I'm not sure if it was all that funny at that point where he got wrapped up. Now, when he jumped up and got him out of there, then it was okay. But plus, when it first happened, as I was watching it, Greg, I thought that he had been flipped in the air from the backside, holding on to it.
Right.
And I didn't know that he had been wrapped up walking across it. So. Still, though, I mean, being rolled along the ground like that.
Got help from guys like Andrew McCutchen.
Definitely could have got hurt. Yeah, that was quite an event.
Ball to strike on Tommy Pham. Recalled last Friday from AAA. His first big league home run on Sunday. And goes the other way. And into the corner it goes. Tommy Pham, a leadoff double. In his 7th big league game.
Fastball up and inside out, it didn't he? I was wondering if that pitch was away from him, but he just led with his hands. Had the head of the bat trailing. Showing some pretty good speed, getting into second base like it was nothing, even with Polanco's big arm out right field. First bunt doesn't work. Usually with Polanco, it's not always automatic that you're going to get a double. But he got it standing up and actually kind of turned. I think Pham will play for the Phillies someday.
He should. PHAM. Lynn misses that one. He has 4 sacrifice bunts. Cole going to do what he can to strike out Lynn.
Yeah, at first you're like, okay, get your bunt down, and then if you go 0-1, you're thinking, I might spin one here and see if I can get to 0-2. And then once it's 0-2, now you're like, heck, we're letting him bunt it. I want a strikeout.
He got it. Let him swing away with 2 strikes. Punch out for Cole.
Very popular nowadays to have the pitchers go ahead and swing. See it all around baseball. Not sure I understand it.
Here's Carpenter. Bounced to first on a 3-2 pitch in the first inning. Leading off this ball game. Happy birthday wish to Pauline Steplinski, longtime Pirates fan from Hyde Park. And to Rose Viros, 81 years old today. Happy birthday, Rose. Carpenter takes 2-0. Always a tough out, Matt Carpenter. Drilled to center. Back McCutchen. And a 2-1 lead for the Cardinals. Matt Carpenter's 9th of the year. And he's been slumping the last few weeks. You just get the sense that not far from getting it going again.
He's one of those players, Greg, and you kind of touched on it there when you say he's always a tough out. It doesn't matter if he's slumping or not. He's still somebody you got to be concerned with. You never feel real comfortable when he's up there with a runner in scoring position. You're not thinking he's not a guy you think home run with a lot, but you know he's going to have a good at bat, and they got a good chance to score when he's up there. He catches a breaking ball here. I believe that's what that was. Wasn't in a horrible location. Looked like it was about knee high.
It's the 7th allowed by Cole and the 9th hit by Carpenter. He's just a .253 career hitter against the Pirates. It seems like better than that. One hop shot by Wong right at the second baseman Walker.
I think it's because of when he gets his hits against us.
It's timely.
Yeah, it seems like he's always doing some kind of damage. Had a couple of RBIs in last night's game. Didn't hit that, and the base hit he got last night's game. Just a little jam shot blooper, but still did the same amount of damage as his home run did here tonight. 2 runs.
Pirates and the Cardinals, 2 teams that have not hit a lot of home runs this year. Pitching staffs don't give up long balls. The Pirates staff has allowed the fewest in the league. The Cardinals pitchers have allowed the 2nd fewest. That one to dead center field and gives St. Louis this 2-1 lead. And Cole, you see by that look, as he stared down toward the plate, thought he should have gotten that one.
Awfully close, maybe an inch.
Toward left, and Ishikawa misplayed it. And that's kind of what Clint Hurdle said. Hey, you take your chances. Ishikawa played the last 3 games of the regular season in left field for the Giants there, and then played in the postseason a little bit.
Well, he's certainly not an outfielder, but you know, one of the things that it's going to be tough for him to do, and is commit to coming in on balls like that. I think his first concern, especially there with 2 outs, was don't make a mistake here and let a ball get by me, turn into an extra base hit. He played it conservative, kind of laid back a little bit too long before he came in, but kept the ball in front of him, and it was just a single with 2 outs. Hopefully that's no big deal. It's a huge outfield, the left field in this ballpark. Kind of in a way, are you surprised that they don't have Polanco playing left?
Well, he wants he was asked that today, and he wants Polanco to just be very comfortable in right field and become one of the better right fielders in the game. He doesn't want to move him around anymore.
Polanco's played left field recently, hasn't he?
He played there.
Detroit, maybe?
I'm not sure if it was Detroit or not. It must have been the game that they decided he wasn't going to play left field anymore. Tap foul. I know they had Josh Harrison play left field last week in Detroit instead of Polanco. That I'm kind of curious about.
So maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
He did move to left field in a double switch a while back.
Yeah, that's probably what I was thinking about that.
Yeah, made his last start in left on June 25th. 2-2 on Hayward.
Well, you certainly want everyone to, if they can, have a regular position to play. You don't want them to move around. It's kind of a rare individual to have somebody that's, well, like Harrison, for instance, is comfortable going different positions and can play a lot of places equally well. Sean Rodriguez, obviously one of those guys.
To the right side, Walker. And the out. 2-run homer for Matt Carpenter. His first since May 24th. 2-1 Cards.
Pittsburgh Pirate baseball team finding ways to win.
Friday night rocks. Pirates trail now 2-1. As Gregory Polanco leads off, struck out looking his first time up, but never saw a strike. And there's ball one. Matt Carpenter in his first homer since May 24th, the 9th of the year. Polanco still get to see a strike. There you know. Lynn has given up just 5 home runs this season. Polanco hitting .308 against the Cardinals this season. This is game number 8 of the season series. And walks. To lead things off. Well, Mike Kalich, Mike Nagel, Paul Staub and company running out that porch area. It's a great spot, isn't it, to have a party?
I agree. I think it's one of the greatest spots in the ballpark now. Be able to sit there, especially the couches. I see myself on the couch. Little table there in front of you.
Yeah. In fact, there's a spot right there for you, Bob.
Yeah, right. Be perfect. Be a nice place to do the game from.
Yep.
And we could do that, couldn't we?
Hear that, Adam? Pete, Jason, Mark, Doug Johnson, Sean.
What's that new standing area, leaning area, whatever, right there in front of the Hall of Fame?
They did such a great job with that.
Yep.
It just blends in so nicely. 2-0 now on Walker.
It quickly became a favorite, didn't it?
It did. Think tips to win here, Neil.
I can hear somebody downstairs on crowd might hear it. Come on, Neil.
I can hear it. Yep.
Rip it. This is like he was reading my mind.
Nice catch.
Hey, Bob Gibson's in the house. All right, now's the pitch.
What's he doing? He should be in the trailer. One of the gypsies is out. Adam Elmore.
He's trying to pretend he's a cameraman.
Isn't he on vacation?
Some guys are dedicated. You go on vacation, you come to the ballpark.
That would be like you going into the radio booth and being door checked on your day off.
Yeah. Now that I would do.
I guess I could see.
You know what I would like to do? I would like to go in the trailer on my day. I think that would be cool. Just maybe not the entire day, but
there's hit to right.
Didn't drive anybody in, but continued the inning. Almost caught Polanco. He was having to hop, skip, and jump to get away from that ball. That's what you're looking to do. You know you're going to get a fastball from Lynn. You're ahead in the count. Sit on it and rip it. Didn't get it elevated, though. Two for two. No RBIs, but still, it's not bad. I'm halfway there.
Yeah,
Neil's halfway there.
No RBIs yet, but give a chance later in the game. Here's Andrew McCutchen. Took care of the hitting streak with a base hit up the middle in the first. Since May the 7th, hitting .355. Look at the OPS.
Is that about the time he had his talk?
Yeah. Yeah.
He backed it up with deeds.
Well, with that, ball two, timeout is called, and Derek Lilliquist, the pitching coach, is going to come out and visit Lance Lynn. And a single to start this third. He had a 1-2-3 second. First inning, the infield hit by Walker, the base hit up the middle by McCutchen, and the two-out double by Mercer scored the first run. Hey, hat back. Three and 0. Oh, 3-1.
Trying to hit another one off the batter's eye with that swing.
Full count.
That's not the spot that Kutch probably wants the ball to be in for a 3-1. I'm surprised he swung at that. Normally 3-1, you're looking for the perfect pitch. Down in the white corner of the strike zone, especially for Kutch, that's not one of his hot spots.
Fly ball to center. Tommy Pham makes the catch. And Polanco advances. Polanco is at third with 1 out. Walker at first. Double play still in order as Jung Ho Kang comes to the plate. Follow the Pirates wherever you are with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, statcasts, and more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet. What that gentleman is doing. And Jung Ho Kang fans. Struck out in the first. Seven RBIs for him. Two and 0. 316 hitter with runners in scoring position. Well, Josh Harrison out for quite a while. Young will try to pick up the slack. 3-0.
Be patient.
Be patient, kind of play smart baseball, really, when you think about it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that was one of your tips to win.
Yes,
right? Play smart baseball.
Well, smart in this instance is you get through some patience.
Yeah.
You're 3-0. The next two pitches, they have to be absolutely perfect. Right what you want, something you can drive to the outfield.
Wow. Then gets another call.
He definitely didn't want that one. That was off the plate a little bit inside. Definitely not going to be swinging at that. It looked like Gunn was taken all the way anyway, though. As that ball was on its way, he kind of dropped his hands. Now he'll be swinging for sure if it's something that he wants.
Line drive, left field, base hit. Something he wanted. Smart baseball. It's 2-2. Jung Ho Kang.
Fastball inside corner, belt high. Greg, can you think real quickly of any player that has become as popular? Maybe AJ when he first got here, as quickly as Kang has. I mean, it's
new arrival. No.
Yeah, somebody brand new, and not even really a. Somebody that like coming through the minor leagues we've been talking about for a couple years.
You certainly can't compare him to anybody else ever in Pirates history.
Came out of the blue.
Yeah.
Here he is, and the fans have really taken to him. And the players, everybody has. And that's
such a unique circumstance.
It probably says something about him a little bit too, his personality and his ability on the baseball field. I mean, that's as big a part of it as anything else. The biggest part.
You really have to admire what he has done. A lot of scrutiny. And Mercer fouls this one away. Mercer doubled into the right center gap to score Walker in the first. A walk started this inning. And the Walker single, McCutchen flight out and gone. RBI to left. And to the oh, it hits the runner. It'll be an out. It's an out. And it. You know what's interesting about this, Bob? I mean, they can't call that a double play, right? That's just an out. I mean, that just avoided the double play. Well, I mean, but then he's saying, wait a second, that's a double play ball. It's a double play ball if it doesn't hit Walker. As routine as can be.
Yeah, it was going to be a tough one not to get doubled up, because would have got there very quickly.
I tried to get out of the way. You just see Walker just said, I tried to get out of the way.
I don't think they can.
I don't think there's anything in the rule book that says you've got to give a double play on a ball like that.
Yeah. You know, it might have. There's a lot of things about in the rule book about a hitter or a runner doing something on purpose.
Intentional is different. Yeah. There's
no
way they can say that's intentional.
Yeah, perhaps that's going to come into play here. That Walker made an effort to get out of the way of the ball. He didn't intentionally let it hit him. And here's another thing, Greg. You can't assume a double play for scorekeeping purposes. Why can you assume a double play for an actual, effect on the ball game?
Well, I've never seen that before, where the outcome for the offensive team, in this case the Pirates, actually is a benefit. The Pirates benefit by that play.
Oh, and that's why, the umpires got together there and they had a little talk at the end to make sure that they were getting this right.
It's a single for Mercer, put out shortstop.
Now that would have been an easy play for Peralta.
Well, if Alvarez comes up with a big hit here, the impact of that play would be huge.
Comes up with a big hit here, knocking in one or two. you got to give partial credit for the RBIs to Walker.
Yeah. We will. Don't you worry.
It's a smart play.
Two 2-0. Wanted that one. 2 balls, 1 strike now on Alvarez, who struck out in the first inning. Lynn has had to work 27 pitches this inning. Toward left center field. That's going to drop and go. Oh, nicely done by Pham. And he is going to save a run for the time being. But the Pirates take the lead. Heck of a play by the center fielder, Pham. It's 3-2 Pittsburgh.
A heck of a play, and the throw came into second base. I don't think the Pirates anticipated the throw going to second. And that ball was going to shoot through and score everybody with no problem. And then Pham comes up, he surveys things and decides to go to second to basically keep Alvarez out of scoring position. He might have missed an opportunity to score an extra run.
Mercer held at third as the throw went to second. Travis Ishikawa at the plate.
Boy, that play by Walker. How about if that's becomes out?
The difference in the ball game.
Yeah,
I mean, and the impact of the season series.
Yeah,
you're playing the Cardinals. This could go down. I mean, don't exaggerate, but depending on the outcome of the year, think of how important that one play will be. Pedro Alvarez, the hit, and then the throw coming to second.
Yeah, I mean, Pham came up and decided that, hey, I'm going to stop Pedro, and fired the second base. Pedro had to go back. I mean, he ran hard out of the box. It wasn't like he was lollygagging going down the line. I don't know if I've ever actually said that before.
I don't recall.
Just popped out there.
Yep. 40th RBI of the year for Alvarez.
Come from the movie Major League.
Yeah.
They use that, lollygaggers.
Two on Travis Ishikawa.
A lot of traffic out there tonight.
Still 2-2. Ishikawa had a pinch hit double last night. A couple of nights ago had a pinch hit walk that led to the 3-run 8. Pirates won the game 5-2 over the Padres. Walker and Sean Rodriguez as Lance Lynn tries to get out of the inning. Pop up, second baseman Wong makes the catch. Pirates get the lead back. Rocking on a Friday night.
Is brought to you by the Chevy Colorado and your Western PA Chevy dealers. And by Day Automotive. We're going to make your day. Let's go Bucks!
Pirates lead 3-2 on a bizarre play in the bottom of the third. UPMC scoreboard. Jung Ho Gang was a part of it. RBI single. Then Neil Walker, when Jordy Mercer hit what was going to be an inning-ending double play, hit Neil Walker. He tried to avoid it, and the inning continued, and Pedro Alvarez took advantage. Perfect birthday. Permanis Coltrane Bucko win, free t-shirt. Well, happy birthday. Yadier Molina popped up his first time. Alvarez driving that ball into the left center gap. Scored Gong, his 40th ribby of the season. And he's hit by the pitch. .94 miles per hour. Molina staring out there. He swung, so he's still at the plate. Fouled it off. Just a little overreaction maybe there by Molina, you think? Another, they're saying it hit him. Clint Hurdles. Well, say, take a look at that.
Overreaction, you mean like upset that he's being pitched inside, or,
right, yes,
or acting like pretending it hit him?
No, I think the way he was staring out at Cole.
Yeah, it could be. I mean,
let's listen. Who said he was hit by the pitch, by the way? Because Brian Honora didn't indicate it, and Molina went back to pick up the bat, knowing he had fouled it off. Now Molina is walking back to home plate with bat in hand. He knows very well it didn't hit him. It's a foul ball. Fans reacted, of course. They saw it on the scoreboard. They get that call right. It's 0-2.
Greg, now I was kind of waiting to see what was all going to happen there before I answered your question. It's kind of a game between the hitters and the pitcher. It's who can try and get maybe a little bit of a mental edge. You're not going to back down. He throws the inside pitch. You're going to look at him. You're going to stare back. It's just
the game.
Yeah, it's forever. I hope that kind of stuff never leaves baseball.
Right.
I think true. The battle between the pitcher and the hitter. That is baseball. That is the game.
Yeah.
You think about it, everything else is just kind of a support for that battle. We're all watching it right now. Who's going to win it? Will Molina been able to hit a ball hard somewhere?
Now 3-2. Bounce to Gong. Nice play. Gong on the first to get Molina.
Man can play some third base. And that strong, accurate arm of his, it seems to come into play at least once every night. Ball was hard hit, heading right for that hole. And Gong able to shut it down. This way you have to throw inside so you get pitches like that. Now to the hitter, that ball looks like it's coming right in at him. You got to do you give way a little bit? You're not thinking about it either. It's a reaction. It's not like you see it and you're making a decision in your head like, oh, that's coming at me. I wonder if I should back up. No, it's just your body reacts out of the respect of the fastballs that in the mid-90s coming at your hands. And then that ball breaks over the plate for a strike, and you get away with that. And that's where a little bit of the fear factor comes in with the hard throwers. Guys who don't throw as hard, they don't get guys giving up on that inside breaking ball as much.
Stewart says he's got it. He does. Grichuk is out number 2 in the 4th. Cole had a 1-2-3 second inning. Facing these hitters, Molina, Grichuk, and now Dan Johnson. We got all 3 of them to pop up in the second. Well, here he's got the first 2 on the ground.
What's Adam shooting right
I don't know what is he doing now.
Oh, he's a
He's moved over.
Garrett Cole footage
Toward the other dugout. High fly ball toward right center field. With room. Garrett Cole, the Pirates lead 3-2. First pitch to Chris Stewart near the bottom of the 4th inning is taken for ball 1. Stewart, Cole, Polanco for the Pirates. Mike Matheny and his pitching coach Derek Littlequist, and a bouncing ball, backhanded Peralta, long throw, about a 4-hopper. If he got anything on that throw, he had a shot at Stewart. Instead, it's an infield single. And for Stewart, a 6-game hitting streak.
Yeah, Greg, would he have had a much better chance if he just tried the old plant the foot throw?
I think so.
You know, taking his time with that one more step.
Yep.
Certainly had no chance with that throw.
He stops right now.
Yeah, if he comes to a stop, plants, and tries to throw the ball hard across the infield.
Now Cole.
Maybe not really knowing the runner. That didn't matter. Not going to throw anybody out with that toss.
Puts it down. Does the job. Tomorrow, Pirates and Cardinals, 7:15. Get to the North Shore early. Enjoy the Saturday night block party on Federal Street. Live entertainment, food, and games. Plus, everybody's a winner on an Eaton Park Scratch and Win Saturday. Scratch off your free card to win great prizes from Eaton Park. For your tickets, go to Pirates.com. The last start before A.J. Burnett heads to Cincinnati. Pirate All-Star will face John Lackey, 2 7-game winners. Yeah, that'll be nice. Pirate win. Up by 1 in game 2 of the 4-game series. Towards second. 2 down. And here's Neil Walker, 2 for 2 with a run scored and an assist.
Chance for a steak here, huh?
Yep. .294 career hitter against Lance Lynn.
6 home runs against Lynn. 6 RBIs, I meant to say. Make it 7 RBIs right here.
Does have 2 home runs against him. Bucks and Redbirds in a battle for the National League Central Division title all season long. Certainly expecting that. These 2 clubs to continue this battle in the second half. Checks and a block by Molina. Seven consecutive Gold Gloves. Keeps Stewart at third. Molina will be going back to another All-Star game. On Neil Walker. Head fake.
Yep. Lynn's got a couple of those early in the game. Hasn't had one called recently though.
Lynn starting to show a little frustration.
I would imagine he's looked over on deck. He sees McCutchen over there. Smoking hot. You would think that he would want to pitch to Walker, but then he knows Walker's hits well often. Tough decision for him.
High fly ball to right center field toward the wall, and it is gone. Clear the deck. Cannonball coming. The real deal. Neil Walker, a 2-run blast. take a 5-2 lead in the fourth. Bob, you can call tonight.
Yeah, I'm done now.
Cash in your chips.
You're talking about Lynn making a decision. Who do I go after right here? Do I pitch around Walker with that open base? But then I got to pitch to McCutchen. Well, he went after Walker at fastball. It was a little above the belt, out on the plate. Took a chance, didn't he? Three home runs and 8 RBIs now for Walker. Against Lynn.
Three for 3 night for Neil Walker. 7th home run of the year.
I love those shots.
I was just going to say the same thing. And it's so cool to watch not only the flight of the ball, the outfielder, but the fan reaction.
Yeah, the backdrop, the background, it's just so perfect.
Nice job, Jerome, carrying the flight of that ball and the reaction, operating that camera.
What a view.
And a strikeout of McCutchen, but Chris Stewart started it with the infield hit and a 2-out, 2-run homer from Neil Walker. To the top of the 5th. Neil Walker's 2-run homer gives Garrett Cole now a 5-2 lead.
He's taking care of the tips all by himself.
Yeah.
Had that smart play by breaking up that double play in a very unusual way, and then he's got the stakes. 2 up. He'll eat well tonight.
Neat sign there, by the way. Get well, Josh Harrison. And Tommy Pham doubled to right leading off the 3rd inning.
Jay Hay looked in good spirits today.
Yeah. Point Park University tweets on the Neil Walker home run.
Brings a lot of, I don't know, fun, happiness, energy to that clubhouse, even when his hand is bandaged up.
Walker. Second home run of the month. And a shot up the middle for Pham, who's 2 for 2.
He's fast too, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
With an F.
That's right. No matter how you spell it. It's going to be it for Lance Lynn. He's going to be lifted after just 4 innings. Xavier Scruggs is going to pinch hit. Surprised by that at all?
No.
All right.
Giving up 5 runs. Down by 3. It's not the American League.
Ball 1 on Scruggs. It is Lance Lynn's shortest outing of the season.
Pretty good pitch. Cole doesn't like it. Look, Cole, his body language, walking way out. And look at this, right down the middle at the knees.
Can't blame him for.
I mean, not right down the middle, but awfully close to it.
Two and 1 on the pinch hitter Scruggs. Lance Lynn's shortest outing since June 28th of last year. He went 2 innings against the Dodgers. A big cut from Scruggs, 2 and 2.
'96 inside corner.
Towards second. 1 and 2. Walker to Mercer to Alvarez.
Those last 2 pitches set up by that prior swing and a miss on the slider. The 3rd pitch set up the next 2. Both of them fastballs in. Got a swing and a miss and a jam shot. It's called slowing down the bat. And then you're taking advantage of it with a good heater in.
Chick-fil-A double play. Walker quickly to Mercer and on to Alvarez. Now Matt Carpenter. Bucko middle infield. Carlos Villanueva will be the new pitcher for the Redbirds. Ball's behind Carpenter. 3-0. Cole certainly doesn't want to walk Carpenter. He's not allowed a free pass tonight. But he will.
You absolutely hate that. You get 2 outs, nobody on, chance for a quick, easy inning. And you got to deal with a base runner. You know, with that Clemente wall too, Long is a threat for a home run.
No doubt.
I don't like to see him come up with anybody on base.
Long has 3 hits and 13 career hits versus Cole, including a home run. But Cole will take care of him. 1 pitch after the walk. That's 5 for Cole. Folks having some fun on a Friday night. It is Friday Night Rocks here on Root Sports. Pirates and Cardinals playing Game 2 of their 4-game series. Don't forget tomorrow night and Sunday night baseball. The nation will be watching Sunday night. We'll be here. So the Pirates and the Redbirds. Jung Ho Gong, RBI single in the 3rd, now faces the new pitcher and greets Carlos Villanueva with a line single to left.
Villanueva this year, 20 games, pretty darn good ERA, down in the 1s, and the opponents don't get many hits off of him. But he can add one more to that. Gong picking on something upstairs. It was like it might have even been above the letters. Rips it in the left.
Well, you really have to give the Pirates offense credit for chasing Lance Lynn. Has been just almost unhittable since early June. Into the bullpen early. Neil Walker providing essentially the knockout punch with the 2-run homer. He has 3 of the Pirates' 10 hits now. Good combo.
Working well tonight.
I have to think that an all-star game is in Neil Walker's future. He hadn't gotten off to such a slow start. And missed a little bit of time. 2-0. Eric Cole.
Well, last season I thought certainly an all-star season for Neil Walker. You look at what he did defensively and with the bat, hitting the home runs. Obviously, one of the top second basemen in the game.
Tomorrow night, A.J. Burnett goes for the Pirates. Burnett looks to finish off his first half with a W. He's second in the league in ERA. Two and two. There goes a little bluff start by Dong, and he might be out to dry. He is. A little stutter step, and then tried to get back, and he's picked off.
Double play.
A strikeout pickoff.
Not much of a chance, especially not with Molina there.
Hogang had single to start the inning. Now 2 outs.
Well, there's a reason all those Rawlings labels are in gold. Chest protector, one on the back of his glove.
7 times he's won that Gold Glove consecutively.
I think that's the coolest thing about winning it is that if you do wear those Rawlings gloves, for the rest of your career, you get the gold label. It's kind of better than the glove on the mantle.
Alvarez played perfectly. Peralta behind the bag throws him out. 5 complete, 5-2 Pirates.
All on Root Sports is brought to you by Allegheny Health Network. Health for all. By Kenny Ross, Ask a Neighbor. And by Levin Mattress, located in all Levin furniture showrooms and freestanding stores. Let's go Bucks.
It is 5-2 Pirates going to the 6th inning, trying to even this series at a game apiece and get back to within 4.5 of the first place Cardinals. This battle will continue tomorrow night and then Sunday night. National television audience. Coach Wanstead is here. Longtime Pirate fans see him at ball games a couple times a year. Good to see Coach enjoying Pirates game behind home plate. Tony Peralta swings and misses. Peralta is 2 for 2. What do you think of Cole so far tonight? Fine, but not, you know, not just doing the job, right?
Yeah. With
Doing
Cole,
what he has to do.
It's got to be kind of tough to really, you know, put a label on how his night's going.
There's Walker.
Because an average night for him is getting to be like where he gives up 2 runs in 7 innings.
Yep, I know.
It's like anybody else. Wow, man, they were on the night.
Yep.
You know, but with Garrett, it's like, okay, yeah, he's decent. 2 runs in 7 innings.
That's so true.
It's just he's really changed the way you know where that bar is as far as what you expect from him. But I guess, you know, that's a good thing. That's what he has become. We expect greatness out of him.
And he expects that of himself.
He is, you know, I don't think he's there yet because you got to do it for a while, but he is becoming one of the elite pitchers in baseball.
Hit hard to right by Hayward. His first hit. The nation will be watching Pirates Cards prime time. 8:05 first pitch. All kids 14 and under will get an Andrew McCutchen and AJ Burnett cup, compliments of sheets and Coca-Cola. Get your tickets now at pirates.com. 2 All-Stars. McCutchen and Burnett on those cups that will be given away on Sunday night. Now Yadier Molina. Good block by Stewart, but the runner's going to take off for second and get there. Hayward reaches on the wild pitch.
You get that ball down in the dirt like that, even though it's blocked, if you get a good jump and you're anticipating, we've talked about this for years, you're going to be successful a great majority of the time moving up that 90 feet. You have to anticipate. You really, I mean, every single lead, you got to be running so many scenarios through your mind. If the ball's hit here, I'm doing this. The ball's hit there, I'm doing this. If the ball's in the dirt, I'm doing this. All this stuff constantly, over and over and over again. You know, looking around and knowing where the outfielders are. It's not just standing out there and watching the game.
And even here, Hayward has to be aware as Molina is retired.
The reason you're doing that is because you don't want to have to think
During
something
play.
happens. You don't want to think, oh, that ball's hit on the ground.
Now what do I do?
No, it's when it's put in play, when something happens, whether it's a blocked ball in the dirt, it's all got to be on autopilot. It's got to be automatic. It's got a reaction. If you're taking time to think, so many times you're going to be out by a step. Right now, he's taking that lead. He's thinking about the outs. You know, even the scenario of what inning it is and what's the score and how important is my run to get home now. Will it be a disaster if I run into an out? You know, all these things you got to be thinking about that. Third base coach, same thing.
2-ball, 1 strike to count. Randall Grichuk, he's flied out and bounced in front of the plate. Garrett Cole, a first-time All-Star, and he could end up the starter. Would be the first since Jerry Royce started the 1975 All-Star game. First Pirate. The ball's 2 strikes. Again, Cole looking for his 13th win.
I remember being a kid watching those All-Star games, and it seemed like, and I don't know, it might only happen once or twice, but it seemed like every year I watched, it was always Palmer versus Seaver. And the American League, which I wrongly rooted for back in those days, it was like they couldn't get a foul ball off Seaver. That always irritated me. Like, come on, get him out of the game.
I'm glad you admit the error of your ways. And then you see he wanted that pitch and didn't get that call. That was a strike. 3-2 now on Grichuk. Struck him out looking there. Garrett Cole with strikeout number 3 finishes 6. Pirates lead 5-2.
By the authority of the Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
5-2 here at PNC Park. Look at that sky. No rain. Strike on Ishikawa. Second inning for Carlos Villanueva. That Buccaneer is ready. Taking some pictures.
It's a great outfit.
Yeah. Two balls, 1 strike.
a good eye on that one. That had to be tough to lay off of it. The breaking ball coming in had to look like it was going to sit right on the plate the whole way. Was able to stop the bat, plenty of time. Get the count full.
Stays 3-2 on Ishikawa. Travis Ishikawa was with the Pirates last year. Played only 15 games. Hit .206. Made just 10 starts, all at first base. This is his first start this time around with the Bucks, and he draws the leadoff walk. We'll bring up Chris Stewart. Well, we got some just unbelievably sad news today when we arrived at the ballpark. Our good buddy Ron Hallbritter, who is security guard at the PNC Park press gate, passed away after leaving PNC Park last night. A former Marine. Be a funeral that will take place on Monday at Warhol Funeral Home in Carnegie, then a full military salute in Altoona on Tuesday. And our thoughts and prayers go out to Ron's family and his wife Linda. Just unbelievable. He was just such a great guy.
Yeah, really just shocking news when we got here. Somebody we see and talk to every day.
That's just such a kind and gentle man, and always helping us out. He will be missed.
Great sense of humor.
Yeah. Yep.
Really was always a lot of fun.
Yeah. Marcus Hernandez pinch running for Ishikawa. He'll stay in the game and play left. On Stewart. Strikes out looking. Out number one, the second strikeout for Villanueva. Stewart didn't think so.
No, those were a couple pitches that were, let's call them pitcher's pitches, just off the edge. You know, sometimes you take those, they're going to get called strikes.
Let me ask you this: do catchers, when they're at the plate, know the strike zone better than anybody else when they're at the plate?
Yeah, I don't know if you can make that general statement, but I think it's true for a lot of them. Like, for instance, if you ask me who's one of the best guys on our team for not chasing bad pitches and having, I would say Cervelli.
Right. I just figured it stands to reason, especially at this point in the game. They've been behind the plate, so they kind of know Onora's strike zone. You'd think.
The thing I wonder about it, Greg, I wonder because it's such a different look at the ball coming in when you're standing upright beside the plate instead of squatting back down behind it. You're seeing the balls at such a different angle. Is it really the same? I don't know. But I think Cervelli is very good at it. He doesn't chase very often. How that you would bring that up, because I did a interview for the radio pregame today with Cervelli, and that was one of the topics of discussion.
The strike zone
was about the strike zone and how good he is at that. He basically kind of broke it down into, he has a mental picture of what he wants to hit, and if he gets that, then he swings the bat. If he doesn't, then he thinks it's a ball. again, it's not a decision, it's a reaction. There's not enough time to think about what you're going to do, especially when you're hitting. I mean, think about how quickly the ball gets to the plate. We're talking tenths of a second. How can you actually think? You got to already have the game plan and react to where the pitch is. Your body has to react to that pitch. You're starting your bat forward on everything. You're beginning your swing on every pitch. It's just, do you stop or not, or do you go ahead and go through with it? That's the repetition that they go through, taking thousands and thousands of swings in the batting cage.
Two and two now on Cole. The second pitch he was not bunting. Now, last two pitches he showed bunt, pulled back out of the zone, looking down at Rick Sofield.
Strikeout. See, in my mind, that's how the score will affect a decision on defense. If it's 5-2 Cardinals here, I think Molina picks this up and gets an out. But they're down 5-2. He does not want a successful sacrifice bunt here, so he takes a chance and lets that ball run, maybe go foul.
And it goes back to your point about being aware of all the circumstances.
Molina's aware of everything. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't wear those gold Rawlings stickers on his equipment just because of his physical talent. A lot of being a good defensive catcher, maybe more than any other position out on the field, is what you got upstairs mentally. I mean, if he lets that, if he lets that ball roll, and it just dies on the chalk, it's a gamble. I mean, I was wondering it too. At what point does he decide? Does he change his mind and say, "No, I'm going to pick it up"? Because you don't know as you're following that ball along. Or do you change your mind and say, "No, I can't do this. I got to pick it up"?
Cole knows didn't get the job done and stew over that a bit.
It's like, why didn't he pick that up? When you have a substantial lead on defense, you don't take chances, you just get outs. When you're falling behind early, you got to do it a little differently. It's kind of the opposite of base running. You fall behind, then now the base running has to be conservative. You got a big lead, you can take some chances.
Polanco swings that one in the dirt. He's upset with himself now. 2-2. He has struck out looking, walked, bounced to second. Did a pretty good job this season against Cardinals pitching, coming in hitting over 300 against St. Louis. Runner goes from first. Molina's throw not in time. That really wasn't that close. Cortes Hernandez steals that easily.
Peralta leaves his tag on him. They're going to have an out. Right there, he comes off the bag. He's not touching the base. What series was it we saw that? Was that against the Reds?
Yes.
Yeah, it was Phillips. He kept every tag on him. Now watch, he's off the base right there.
I'm surprised that Peralta didn't keep it, because we're seeing more and more infielders do what we saw Phillips. Others are doing it. Cortes Hernandez gets his first stolen base in the big leagues in 3 years. Spent some time with the Pirates and Marlins back in 2012. Base hit can give the Pirates their 6th run. Pirates chased Lance Lynn. Mike Matheny's starter, who came in with the 8th lowest ERA in the league, gave up 5 runs on 9 hits in 4 innings. Walker, of course, big part of that. 3 for 3 and the 2-run homer in the 4th. And so Polanco has a good at bat. His 2nd walk. 2nd base on balls of the inning for Villanueva. This was Walker against Lance Lynn in the 4th inning. His 7th of the season. 3 for 3. That gave the Pirates this 5-2 lead. Two-out, 2-run homer for Walker in the 4th.
I like the fact that where the Pirates are now, you have the Mets 6.5 back the Pirates.
Walker now at 34 runs batted in.
Don't miss an opportunity. It's the Cardinals. Keep adding on. Paint right there with that fastball.
First year with the Cardinals, Villanueva. After a couple seasons with the Cubs. A lot of years with the Brewers. Strikes out Walker. And the Pirates strand a couple base runners. They lead 5-2. Cole goes back to work along the banks of the Allegheny. Friday night rocks, and here we are on the 7th for Garrett Cole. Facing Dan Johnson. Jorge Hernandez remains in the game in left. You see the pitch count. 96 pitches now, and it would stand to reason that this would be Cole's last inning if he can get through the bottom third of the order with a pinch hitter due up. Red flag when you reach that 100 pitch mark. Now it's 3-1 on Dan Johnson.
Yeah, that was a nice pitch. I wish Cole would have got that one.
Did not get the call, and there you see Cole. That's all you need to know what he thinks. That is meant for Brian Onora. Walked him, and now Cole really showing his frustrations.
Stewart going to go out there and try and calm him down. And he's not really doing himself a favor with Onora either. In the old days, it would have been the umpire taking this little walk out to the mound.
Ray Searage will head out. Now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use the hashtag #PitDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Hashtag #PitDataStrongFan, and look for yourself in an upcoming telecast. Again, brought to you by T-Mobile.
Remember the umpire Satch
Davidson?
Yeah, Davidson.
Now what is Ray Searage? Maybe is he going to say something to Onora here?
Well, yeah, Ray's going to try and take the heat, off of Cole. I mean, that's part of the job there. But I remember Satch going out to talk to John, the Count Montefusco, in San Diego, and I mean, he went right up to his nose and just aired him out, and then turned around and went back. But the umpires really don't have that kind of power nowadays to be doing things like that. I think that would be kind of instigating. I couldn't see anybody doing that anymore. Or that was not something back 30 years ago that was really surprising. Maybe Joe West.
He could still do it.
Joe might still
carry some weight. I mean,
he didn't mean it that way.
No, didn't mean that, Joe. Jared Hughes loosens in the bullpen. Tommy Pham 2 for 2 against Cole. Belated happy birthday wish to Van Cooser. Mill run. Celebrated a birthday the other day. 1 ball 2 strikes the count on Tommy Pham. Doubled to right and scored in the third. Singled his last time up. Chops this one. Tough play. He can run. Cole will. Gets it done. First down.
Not an easy play with somebody that can fly going down that line.
Allegheny Health Network Supermo look there, and
got a little swinging bunt. Cole's got to come over. He's got to backhand it, get the grip, make the hard throw.
Did it under control. Johnson now at second, and here's the pinch hitter Mark Reynolds.
Ray Miller used to call guys like that blue flamers, because they had a blue flame coming out there going down the line.
A guy like Pham he'd call blue flamer?
Yeah, with an F.
Ray Miller, the former Pirates pitching coach. Couple of strikes on the pinch hitter.
That would always be during spring training, during the drills. He'd say, okay, now you got a blue flamer going down the line. What are you going to do? Nothing. pick him off, pitch to the next guy.
I can hear you saying that to Ray. Reynolds gets a piece, and here's your situation now. Cole knows what's happening. He knows there's bullpen action. He knows he's got to get Reynolds to stay in this game. He'd love to finish 7 strong.
Look at that spin on that ball. That beautiful shot. Love the Super Mo. See his that release, his fingers coming around the outside part of the baseball, putting that little side spin on it. 97, still feeling plenty strong. Reynolds moving in toward that pitch.
Another at 97. And hangs in there. Reynolds started at third base last night. 0 for 3. Tomorrow night it's A.J. Burnett. Another foul.
Let that one hang inside a little bit.
.109 pitches. Season high 116. June 7th in Atlanta. Reynolds is certainly a strikeout candidate. But he fouls off yet another. Guy who set National League record back-to-back years with the Diamondbacks. This season, 81 times he's gone down on strikes and 223 at bats.
Hasn't been able to break that slider off the outside corner to get a chase. 2 in a row.
Must have
not
talked
good
things over
locations. The last 2 pitches, they're trying to go for the strikeout, the chase down and away, but he hung the one over the inside corner, and that last one was actually right out over the meat of the plate. Need one more strikeout in him. Right here. Get the good candidate up there. Got him set up at a 1-2 count.
Another foul. 8 pitches. And Robbie, did he make that play?
Who caught that and gave it to Robbie?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Let's see. Oh, Robbie!
Look at
that is sweet. And up the middle, second baseman Walker will be there for the second out. Boy, I'll tell you what, that is the play of the year, maybe the play of the career from Robbie and Smikowski, who's feeling really good right now.
Well, you got to be in the ready position at all times down this camera well. We are sometimes a target of multiple foul balls, so just
is that your first? Is that your first catch all these years you've been doing this?
It's actually second. I think I made one last year.
No, I don't think so.
Not that
Robbie.
I'm keeping track or anything.
We are. That's your first. No, that was a great play. We're seeing it on the Allegheny Health Network Super Mo.
Great job, Robbie.
Kudos to Robbie.
Yep.
Just remember one thing, guys. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, because I take the heat when I botch those.
Yep. Nicely done. Now the battle here between Cole and Carpenter, and it's a good one with 2 outs and a runner at third, and Cole finishing up his night's work, has to get Carpenter. He'd love to finish a clean 7, and Carpenter, that tough out we talked about, homered in the third. He grounds to second and on the first. They are riding the Cole train, and a standing O for the All-Star ace of the Buccos.
important game. And
wow. He saluted the fans as he walked into the dugout. What a job. What a job by Gerrit Cole.
He loves the important games, doesn't he?
He really does. Gerrit Cole was battery mate there. We'll keep it right here.
Everyone watching at home on Root Sports as we sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
Thing is expected all the time. When we're talking about how the bar is kind of raised on him, he gave up 2 runs. So it's almost like, okay, but right there at the end, this last inning, he got up over 100 pitches. He really showed that he still had the power. A little bit of difficulty locating that slider for a moment, but he finds a way to get it done.
Yeah, he does. And here we are looking at another tremendous start. 7 innings, 2 runs, 6 hits. His final start before heading to Cincinnati in the All-Star game. So the new pitcher, Miguel Sokolovic, third pitcher to work for the Cardinals. Villanueva went 2.
There's 3 strikeouts tonight. Not quite where he usually is. But so what? Got the outs anyway.
I guess it reduces the pitch count.
Yeah.
And his ERA will stand at 2.30. Heading to the break.
Hopefully, the bullpen can nail down another 6 outs and they'll show up with 13 wins.
Doc Ellis, the last Pirates pitcher to win as many as 13 games before the All-Star break. It was 1971. Ellis went on to win 19 games that year, 19-9. Andrew McCutchen extended his hitting streak to 17 straight games with a first inning single. Since then, he's flied out and struck out.
Notice to the Cole, you can see it right there. He never seems to be satisfied about anything. Always driving himself to be better. I'm sure tonight he's going to be thinking a lot of the stuff that he didn't like, pitches that he didn't make. He's a competitor.
Pirates get 6 more outs. He goes to 13-3. in on his hands. A broken bat roller towards second, backhanded by Wong, and McCutchen is retired. Here, Cole has had a strong season so far. How about your strongest fan photo? Use the hashtag #PitDataStrongFan. You just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Again, hashtag #PitDataStrong. Tweet us your strongest fan photo. Happy night for the Bucco fans. Pirates were trailing 2-1 after Carpenter homered in the third. But then a leadoff walk in the bottom of the third inning. Neil Walker singled. Jung Ho Kang had an RBI hit. Kang 2 for 3 in this game. Jordy Mercer was credited with a hit thanks to the fancy footwork of Neil Walker. Hit by the batted ball. He was retired, but the inning continued. Swinging strike, according to Vic Carapazza. Tony Watson will be pitching the 8th. Set the stage for Mark Melancon. At the moment, a save situation. To third, Carpenter retires Gong, and 2 outs. Pirates have been retired in order once. That was in the bottom of the second, bottom third of the order. And now Mercer, who's 2 for 3. Big crowd on hand on Friday night as the Pirates and Cardinals meet. And over the long history of the Pittsburgh Pirates, it is a rare treat to be here in Pittsburgh watching the Pirates host a team that they are chasing. Pirates in second place in the division. It just does not happen where the schedule sets up this way just before the break. Last time anything similar to this, you really go back to 1997. That freak show year, the Pirates at the break were 43-43. They led the Astros by 1 game, the Cardinals by 2 games. And they played in St. Louis just before the break. And they swept a 3-game series, July 4th, 5th, and 6th. Strike 3 called on Mercer. Pirates go down in order. We head to the 8th. Tony Watson will be coming on. road as they host these Cardinals tomorrow night and Sunday night. Don't forget, that's a nationally televised game. Be here at PNC Park, and then the All-Star break. Then hit the road. 3 in Milwaukee, 3 in Kansas City, and back home another big series at PNC Park with a 4-gamer against those Washington Nationals.
Going to be some tough games. Going against Kansas City, Washington.
Yeah.
And Milwaukee. You can't take
absolutely.
You can't take those guys for granted, especially when we go up there in that ballpark.
And they've started winning the last couple of weeks. The Brewers. Eric Cole goes over things with
already.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's nice because it's fresh in your mind. You know, you wait till tomorrow or, you know, a couple of days from now.
You want to take care of business now.
Usually that second day you're doing your sideline work.
It's like us after each telecast. We always meet immediately after the game, so it's fresh in our minds.
Yep. Got to do that. Tony Watson. Excellent numbers.
Hundred 14 pitches for him, 71 for strikes. Watson faces the 2, 3, 4 men in the order. Wong, Peralta, and Hayward. That's a clever one right there. Charcoal the birds.
The bat was kind of like a spit, probably rotated over the charcoal. Slowly turning the birds. Based them a little bit.
That's what happens when you go to the science store.
Yeah. Look at you, dog.
And going to be a nice little play made by Walker. No time to waste. Takes care of the speedy Wong. 1 up, 1 down for Tony Watson. Tomorrow, Pirates and Cardinals, 7:15. We invite you to get to the North Shore early. Enjoy the Saturday night block party on Federal Street. Live entertainment, food, and games. Plus, everybody's always a winner on a Eaton Park Scratch and Win Saturday. Scratch off your free card to win great prizes from Eaton Park. For your tickets, go to Pirates.com. And don't forget about the Port Authority Connect card as well for Sunday games. Johnny Peralta takes ball 1. Peralta with double off the wall and right, misplayed ball that went for a double and left, and then a ground out. Melanson goes through his routine. Nice stretch by Rodriguez. The throw from Mercer, a little off the mark.
What Mark does out there is kind of like visualizing, like shooting free throws with no ball. Just getting yourself ready. Came up on Mercer a little bit. Just goosed it over there.
Backhand pick by Sean Rodriguez. 2 up, 2 down for Tony Watson here in the 8th. One on Hayward. Hakeem out. Tony Watson with a 40. 1, 2, 3, and out. Four players to this year's All-Star game, including a first-timer in his final season. Andrew McCutchen adds fashion designer to his resume and much more. New Inside Pirates Baseball, presented by Allegheny Health Network, debuts tonight after postgame on Root Sports. A 5-2 Pirates lead. Go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Sellout crowd, 36,825. 10th sellout of the season. Hope to see you here tomorrow night and or Sunday night. National TV.
Place has the best standing room in the country.
Yeah, it does.
Especially the little we were showing earlier that where you can lean up.
Yes.
What do you call that area? I know it's got an official name.
It's the
leaning area.
The
drink rail. There we go.
Yeah. Pete Toma just gave it that name.
Right there along the Hall of Fame club. I liked it though. I jumped right on it.
Budweiser bow tie bar in the back there. Again tomorrow night, A.J. Burnett. Should be fun here tomorrow against John Lackey, 2 7-game winners. Sunday night, 2 lefties, the veteran Francisco Liriano and the rookie Tim Cooney, to send us to the break. 7:15 tomorrow night, 8:05 Sunday. Rodriguez put a little charge into it. Hayward backpedals and makes the catch. 1 down in the bottom of the 8th inning. Our next telecast will be coming up next Friday. The Pirates open up a series against the Brewers following the break. Catch all the action from Miller Park here on Root Sports starting at 7:30 with Pirates pregame. Presented by W.B. Mason here on Root Sports.
A whole week, huh?
Yep. Tomorrow night's game is on Fox and Sunday night on ESPN. So if you can't be here, you can still catch the game. National telecast, and of course always on the Pirates Radio Network. Marcus Hernandez, his first at bat. Oh for 3 at the plate this season. Roller to third. Carpenter. Oh, man, just does get the speedy Dorcas Hernandez.
They're talking about just goosing one over there. Did not know about the speed. Playing very deep. Put a lot of air underneath that one. A little bit of an arc to it. Got him by half a step. Jeff King like it.
That was King?
Yeah, Kinger in the old days. Nobody ever beat it out, but never threw anybody out by more than half a step. No matter what, who it was.
Did you ever ask him about it?
I probably brought it up, but I mean, all he would say was he'd look at you and like, what are you talking about? You know how he was.
He had to be one of your favorites.
Like, oh, yeah.
Right?
The favorite thing about him, though, anytime we had that meeting on the mound about, the usually be about a bunt or something.
Right.
Bunt defense, whatever. He would always be the last one there because he didn't want anyone else to hear what he'd say. And everybody would leave, and then he'd say, now, don't just lay it in there because I'll be charging. He was always worried about that. Anytime
he'd always say that.
Anytime he was playing close, he wanted me to know it. Like, okay, I don't want you to get that ball hit hard at you.
Oh, no way did he catch that. I mean, kudos to Robbie, but Robbie, I'm sorry. This is a shot. Robbie's foul ball they caught bounced a couple times. Wow.
Hey, two-handed it, though.
That's true. Robbie one-handed it.
One-handed it.
Popped up toward right. Well, it's going to be a save situation from Mark the Shark. Here he comes. Mark Melanson trying to save this one for Garrett Cole. Looking for save number 29 as he makes his way in from the bullpen. Mark Melanson looking to match the club record for most saves before the All-Star break of 29, set 2 years ago by the man he was setting up at the time. And he went to his first All-Star game, Jason Grilli.
The Pirates have been blessed with some good closers, haven't they? Even in some of the lean years, that was the case.
Yep.
Melanson, one of the very best.
Yadier Molina will be the leadoff man. Then Randall Grichuk and Dan Johnson. Cardinals have had a lot of comeback wins this year, as have the Pirates. Speaking of great closers, he's getting ready with Rob King. Teak.
Going over the paperwork.
The work those guys do.
Their game plan
don't you marvel at the work that they put in?
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Poring over papers and statistics and
in the dark.
Numbers in the dark. How did they do it? Molina 0 for 3. 3 outs to get the Pirates back to within 4.5. Get Cole his 13th win.
Hook didn't start him off. Curve ball for strike one.
Bounce towards second. There's one. Two of the best teams in baseball playing this 4-game series. The Cardinals winning last night 4-1, and the Pirates leading this one 5-2.
Tried to do the same thing. Wanted to go strike one with a hook. He threw his swing and miss hook though.
In the air the other way. Deep but foul. Taking it in.
Okay. Keep you on his pitch. Fastball placed upstairs.
Two and 2 on Grichuk.
Back to the cutter.
John Lackey will be pitching tomorrow night against A.J. Burnett. Lined into left. Hit hard by Grichuk.
That was all about location. Just didn't get it away at all. Hung right down the middle. I'm almost got it with that one. You know what? I think now looking at that target, they were trying to kind of backdoor it. They were trying to trick him. They were going for a strike 3 looking. I saw that it was a cutter. I assumed they wanted it outside, but they were trying to put that on the inside corner.
Strike on Dan Johnson. Dan Johnson sent Gregory Polanco back to the wall in right center field in the 4th inning. One and 2.
see the grip of the cutter. Watch his fingers come off the side of the ball. Just kind of pulls down a little bit to the right side. Just gets it ever so slightly off center spin. That just moves that fastball in toward the lefty. Maybe an inch or so at the most. There it is again. And that's what you call a cutter. It's kind of, I guess it gets the name from the, you're kind of cutting down the side of the ball a little bit instead of staying right behind it. A normal fastball, you're trying to stay right behind the ball. With the cut fastball, you just let your fingers get off center a little bit.
Another 1-2, another foul.
Lance is one of the best that I've seen at keeping the fastball velocity. When they're actually throwing a true cut fastball. Some guys you see that's 4 or 5 miles slower than their fastball, but they call it a cut fastball. When in reality it's more of a slider. More of an off-speed pitch.
Did he go? No, says the third base umpire Larry Vanover. Thought for a minute that Honora was going to call him without any assistance. He ruled check swing, but so too did Vanover.
Now look at the difference in the spin. He come over the top of the ball with his fingers, and the ball is spinning forward, and that's what makes it go in there and dive to the ground.
Oh, 3-2, and getting a little bit dicey here. You don't certainly want to put Johnson on. Tommy Pham, a couple of good at bats against Cole on deck. No Matt Holliday, though he's close to returning. Might see him tomorrow. Full count. Another foul. Johnson just gets a piece.
This pitch he's really having a tough time with is that cutter that's running in. That pitch right there, he is having a hard time just making contact with it.
Assume they stay with it.
You got to throw a strike.
Another foul ball by the veteran Dan Johnson. Johnson spent some time with the Oakland A's, Tampa Bay, White Sox, Baltimore. Last year played in 15 games with Toronto. Just back up to the big leagues a couple days ago. 10th pitch of this at bat coming up. Time was called. How about this battle? Cannot put Dan Johnson away. Andrew McCutchen had an extended at bat against Seth Maness last night in the 9th inning. Ended up hitting a big home run to center.
We get the game can be over with now. Let's do baseball number 100 in the game. But
another foul ball.
101. We're over 100. $101 baseballs tonight. I don't know if that's average. Guess it would be.
Kind of feels like it would be.
I've been told it's now. I must have missed some already. It's 104.
Oh. Well, we'll see if the 105th Melanson can put away Dan Johnson. Of course, they keep track of the pitches for guys like Melanson, so this can affect the series the rest of the way. But right now, all they care about is 2 more outs. 12th pitch of the at-bat. And a drive to right field. Polanco is back and with some room. 12 pitches. The battle ends.
It's okay.
With Melanson getting the out.
To win. It doesn't matter how many pitches it takes, as long as you win that battle, get the out. That cutter got just far enough down the bat to where the ball didn't carry. Just far enough in on the label. Toward the label.
Now Tommy Pham. $36,825, a sellout crowd to watch this National League Central Division showdown come down to this as Mark Melanson looks for his 29th save. League leader in the saves department. A couple of saves more than Trevor Rosenthal of these Cardinals. Glenn Perkins of the Twins also with 28.
Everybody was kind of booing for no reason. That definitely was out of the strike zone. Everybody just
they want it so bad.
This is the time of the game where you waited all 9 innings to get up on your feet for this moment right now.
And fouled out of play by the rookie.
1 strike away.
A little bit of a statement game if the Pirates can get this last out. Show the Cardinals, if they needed convincing, that the Pirates aren't going to let them walk over them. Trying to save it for Cole. Raise the Jolly Roger. The series even at a game apiece. You've got your major league leader in saves, the major league leader in wins, and Cole with 13, and back to 4.5 out in the division.
You know, Greg, it's the feeling everybody had yesterday, after the game, kind of like everybody down. Isn't it incredible what just 24 hours can do?
It's baseball.
A baseball season just flips back and forth, back and forth. The roller coaster you get on if you allow yourself to get on that roller coaster. But those guys right there, they don't really play that game. They are all about keeping that even keel. And a lot of that is credited to Clint Hurdle.
As he says, it's another game on the schedule.
Yep.
But this game means that the Pirates move back to within 4.5 with 2 games left to be played against the St. Louis Cardinals tomorrow night, 7:15, Sunday night, 8:05. Go to Pirates.com, get your tickets, and be here for all the excitement before the All-Star break. And let's go back out to Robin T.
Greg and Bob, thanks very much. And Teach, so much excitement leading up to the All-Star break. The fact that these 2 teams, the top teams in the Central, playing here at PNC Park in front of huge crowds. A lot of fun to check out.
It really is, and you know, it's the excitement of the game of baseball. Last night, not quite as exciting, obviously, because the Cardinals got the lead in the game and they maintained it. Tonight, the excitement switched around the other way. The Pirates had the lead early. We're able to add on to it and then go ahead and finish the job. So yeah, an exciting first two games. More exciting for Pirate fans the second game. More exciting for the Cardinal fans the first game. But two good baseball games, and you can't expect anything more than two more good baseball games the rest of the series.
Great month of July continuing for Neil Walker, who is standing by with Robbie Inzbikowski.
Yeah, Robin Teak, a huge night for Neil Walker and the Buccos. They even the series at a game apiece against a division-leading St. Louis Cardinals. Neil, they take a 2-1 lead in the top of the third. You punch back the next two innings. How much did that change the complexion of this ball game?
Yeah, we grinded it out pretty good there the second time through the order and took advantage of a couple opportunities. And Garrett did his thing out there, got us through 7, and, you know, it was a good night.
You ran the pitch count really high on Lance Lynn tonight. When he's all over the place like that, like in terms of pitch location, how do you stay with your approach and maintain some success like you did hitting the home run?
Yeah, you got to be patient. You got to try to get the ball over in the zone, and obviously he was missing early in the count. We got into some good hitting counts, and when you do that, you have to take advantage of you know, situations like that. So we were able to do that tonight.
Okay, so you're running between second and third. The ball hits you on the way, and the Pirates end up capitalizing with the Alvarez hit. We caught you mouthing. I tried to get out of the way. What took place in that exact situation? Obviously, you're trying to get out of the way, but how much gamesmanship is involved, being a fellow infielder and trying to screen the infielder? Yeah,
it happens all the time. You know, you try to just give that extra little, you know, something to maybe jar the vision of the second baseman or shortstop, and Jordy's ball had a lot of English on it and hit me on the foot.
How about when you look at Gerrit Cole and his performance? He gives up a couple early runs and then shuts the door down the rest of the way. Why has this guy been so consistent all year long from day one?
I mean, we've seen this all year so far, and there's a reason he's in the All-Star game. He's one of the best pitchers in the league, but nights like tonight, when he gets the lead in the middle innings, he shuts the door.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you, Rob.
Neil Walker and the Pirates, Robin Teak. What a night. 2 more games of this. A lot of fun.
Definitely, Robbie. Thanks very much. Leading up to the All-Star break, it has been a lot of fun. And Teak, you think, yes, Gerrit Cole, great performance. Both pitching staffs, excellent. We've talked about that. The top 2 earned run averages in all of baseball. You think the separator for these teams right now might be the potential that the Pirates lineup has?
Yeah, we saw tonight that the Pirates lineup was able to generate offense on their own. The Cardinals, they helped them out last night. They were able to get the 4 runs, get the commanding lead, and hold on to it. That's what either one of these pitching staffs is capable of doing. What we've said all season long is this Pirates offense is capable of doing things like this, but they just aren't able to consistently do it night in and night out. And now that's been the real hang-up for this ball club as far as trying to put a big string together. Tonight they got the offense going. It made for a nice, comfortable win against the Cardinals. So a matter now of can we go back tomorrow and do it again? Can we do it again on Sunday? History says what we've seen so far this year, you can't count on that. So you're probably going to have to be ready to grind one out again tomorrow.
The offense in the middle, it was 2015 All-Star Gerrit Cole. At the beginning, 2015 All-Star Mark Melancon with his 29th save at the end as the Bucks win Game 2 of this 4-game set by the final score of 5-2 to cut the Cardinals' lead to 4.5 games in the Central. Coming up next, highlights of this game, post-game reaction, plenty of analysis from Teak, a look around the rest of the National League. All that and more coming up next at Pirates Postgame presented by the Allegheny Health Network.